Wow, I didn't know that you can turn a disciple and then have the disciple kill the mimic for you, which was very convenient. That happened, yeah, but I actually missed out on a mission step, which I would have loved to freeze the mimic. I didn't have the field upgrade charged all the way, so I couldn't do it, and I totally was bummed about that. But anyway, I got the daily challenge completed where you have to kill a disciple, and I wasn't actually even aware of that challenge. I just completed it by accident. And so last night we had a big update here where they added more stuff to the game. But guess what? There's something that they still haven't fixed yet, and it simply puzzles me. So I was doing this bounty contract here and I went down for some reason. It wasn't really for the mimic, it was something else that took me down. I do the self-reviving and this happens. So I just learned that this is actually not happening with the stim, like I mentioned in my other video. It might happen with the stim too, but it actually happens if the self-revive animation doesn't kick in right. So as you could see, the self-revive was actually, the animation actually started when I was already done with the self-revive. And while I was doing the self-revive, the animation wasn't actually showing. Thankfully, this doesn't exist every time I self-revive myself, but I also don't self-revive in every run. I self-revive maybe in every other run or maybe every third run or so. So if I did it a lot more, maybe this would happen a lot more to me. But thankfully, I know how to fix this bug, even though it's not always easy depending on where you actually are, where this bug actually happens. So in this case, I knew that this building here had a ton of guns in those cabinets, so it wasn't an issue. As soon as I swapped, I snapped out of the bug. Thankfully, this was really close and I knew about this location. Otherwise, it probably would have taken me a longer time to find it. Anyway, so fortunately, I was able to go back there, kill the mimic, but then I was kind of out of self-revives and I had to kind of restock those again. And then I went on my merry ways and I saw this. So I was like, well, it could belong to those players, so let me wait. But then nobody reacted. They were kind of busy. Nobody was riding the bike. So I took it because I was like, well, they may not even have seen it, or I don't know what's going on, but I'm taking this bike. So I pretty much went on a joyride with it to just kind of, make the most out of the last 9 minutes I had in this game.
Deadbolt actual to strike team. Locate and recover Dr. Jansen. No diversions.
Coming up in your AO. Stand by for pickup.
It sure is nice when you can ride over a horde of zombies and the vehicle doesn't take any damage, right? Because I usually try to avoid the zombies because I want my vehicle to last. But I didn't have any worry in the world until I got kind of stuck with the bike and I couldn't get out of it. And I'm like, uh-oh, we're in trouble. But that was only for a few seconds. Then a disciple showed up and I was like, well, maybe I could just take this guy down riding over him like that, but it didn't seem to work. Shortly after, I noticed that the bike has its own field upgrade, so I tried that and I was like, wow, maybe this way I can take out stronger enemies, we'll see. Of course, I had to go and check out the red zone with this bike, because I knew that as long as I stay on this bike, I'll be fine. I would never set my foot in here just walking around, but with the bike, no problem. Well, I was in the red zone a long time ago once on foot, but it didn't last long because I was just Going in there with a tier 1 upgraded weapon, thinking that will just be fine, and learned quickly that that was a dumb idea. So I fled the scene as fast as I came in. But yeah, this time I just wanted to drive through to see if I find something that I can crush with my bike, but I didn't really, so it was really close to exfil anyway, so I thought maybe I shouldn't push it. But I sure wanted to enjoy the bike as long as I could. And I really did enjoy it, because who knows when I next will find a bike like this. And I even actually decided to just go to an orange zone exfil, because I could just stay on the bike until the chopper was ready, no problem. But the whole time I was riding this bike, I was kind of feeling guilty, because I was kind of wondering if I did take this bike away from the other players. And that really made me feel a little bad. I really don't want to do this, but I will never know, will I? In my next run, I went in with an already upgraded tier 1 weapon. I did a bunch of contracts to get the 10,000 you need to upgrade it to tier 2. And here I am up in this building where I was before, where you take the elevator up to go and upgrade, do the Pack-a-Punch. And everything was gated off. And I'm like, wait, what? That wasn't there before. This is gated off too. You used to be able to jump through those windows. How else do you get to it? I don't know. I have to find out. I may have to run around this whole building somehow. Thankfully, there's always a lot of loot here. And then I run into mercenaries that were never here before. So I'm like, that's why this is all gated off. So they made this into a stronghold. But why are they making a Pack-a-Punch station into a stronghold now? That is kind of annoying. So instead of just being able to come here and Pack-a-Punch your weapon real quick and go on with your whatever you have planned, you have to now fight a ton of mercenaries, and you may even go down. And if you don't have a self-revive, that'd be the end of the game. So I'm thinking, well, you know, I do have self-revives, fortunately, but I still don't want to go down. So I'm just gonna have to fight all those guys and then see if those gates open up. I don't know what's gonna happen. And after I thought I was done with fighting the mercenaries, I still couldn't find a way to the Pack-a-Punch machine. So I was checking if I could just jump through here, and I saw that I could get into this other section down there, and that gave me hope, even though it didn't look like this was actually the way you're supposed to go. But I was able to get there, but there was also more mercenary, which was totally unexpected. So I'm like, wow, so I have to fight more of those now. So I'm fighting the last bit of mercenaries here. And finally can do my Pack-a-Punch 7 minutes later. 7 minutes after I stepped off the elevator. So I lost 7 minutes. A little later I was chasing an orb, which is an activity I like to do a lot. And then this mimic showed up, and I was really lucky that my field upgrade was fully charged. So I could finally do the first step of freezing 5 mimics with this field upgrade. So I was super happy about that. But then yeah, of course, he unfroze and I had to kill him. And then after that, a disciple showed up, but I have learned to shoot his head to take him down super fast, so I am no longer scared of them. I was then sticking around this area for another like 7-8 minutes, hoping for another mimic to show up, but unfortunately I didn't see one. But I was lucky that there was a rift right here, which allowed me to just simply fly over to the exfil in a comfortable fashion. In the next run, I did an Outlast contract, which is another contract I like to do a lot. And look what I got. A ray gun again. So I'm not sure if they have been deciding to putting the ray guns in more frequently in the low threat zones, or if I'm just very lucky, because I really like this ray gun. It kind of mixes things up a little bit, even though I had to give up on my dual commas, which was a hard decision. But then it dawned on me that it's easier for me to find a set of dual commas again than a ray gun again. And I really wanted to make use of this ray gun, because once you pack a punch this gun, it is very, very powerful, especially against special zombies. And then after completing a sport contract with the ray gun, I was ready to pack this ray gun to tier 2. When I found out that this Pack-a-Punch station again is in this tower or the skyscraper in downtown where I was in my last run, I wanted to try something new and different. I always wondered if this is actually possible. So I'm still here in the low threat zone. I'm going up on one of the tallest buildings here in the white zone. I think it is one of the tallest. But anyway, if you take the stairs, it takes a really long time to get up here. And I saw that this building is almost the same size, just a little bit lower. And I was like, I don't think I can make it up there on the roof unless I can maybe get up higher here. So I tried that. You can go a little higher, but it still didn't look like I was able to make it just because of the distance. But I was like, you know, maybe, this is meant to work. So I'll try it. And yeah, I was losing height quickly, but then decided to land on this crane because I saw that there is an ascension core and it goes up higher. So I was thinking, well, maybe that's how you're supposed to do this. So I went up here. But this was still not high enough, as you can see. So I was like, now what? So then I was like, well, the crane is actually taller, so maybe I can jump this. And yes, I was able to, but it still wasn't really tall enough for me. Yeah, I definitely failed. There is probably a way you can make it over there, but if the parachute opens, it kind of pulls you away from it. But that's okay. So I was like, I'm just gonna have to do it the old-fashioned way and take the elevator. And when I got up there, I found out that the windows were graded up again. So at this point, I was convinced that that's just a change that the developers made based on the last upgrade. And I could just kind of imagine that people will start avoiding this Pack-a-Punch location, especially if they're in a hurry and they just really want to get their weapons Pack-a-Punch really, really quickly within a few seconds without having to fight through a horde of zombies and then get to the Pack-a-Punch machine via jumping and a lot of detours. So I don't know. This is the second time this happened to me. Maybe I'm just having bad luck here both times. But it sure seems like that's something that they changed with the last update. This time it wasn't mercenaries. It was just disciples and a bunch of zombies. And for a second here, I was actually forgetting about the ray gun. But I'm actually glad I did, because I have brain rot ammo on my assault rifle, which turned the disciple to work on my side, which came in very handy. And this time I only lost about 2 minutes versus 7 in my last run because of this Pack-a-Punch machine being so locked down. I then went to the same location where I was able to take down the Mimic last time, but this time I just couldn't find a single Mimic in this whole area, which was very disappointing. Instead, I cleared an Ether house, which is always fun, and then found this LTV just standing around. And then as I was about to take off to go to the exfil, I saw a disciple, so I thought, hey, let's have a little bit more fun with this ray gun and see how fast I can actually take down a disciple with this ray gun. And I counted later, it took exactly 7 shots. So I don't know if it's worth it, you know, grinding for the ray gun or carrying the ray gun around with you, but I feel like it is definitely fun. The only negative thing is if you do not have any protection via like the PhD flopper, for example, it does knock your plates fast if the enemies are close to you, and that's a little bit something that makes me like maybe not use it in very crazy situations and more in controlled situations. But for sure, if I'm gonna find it again, I will definitely use it again, because it's so rare that you find them unless you get them from another player, which happened to me. I actually have 2 in my inventory which I save up for if I need to do a mission using a ray gun or something. And I was glad I was kind of hanging around this area a little bit longer, because a second disciple showed up shortly after and I took him down super fast with this ray gun. Definitely a little bit faster than it would take with a regular gun, but not that much.
Wouldn't want to get caught out there. Hang tight, Sergeant. Priority now is getting our people out of the field.
This time I could not find a rift nearby, which was a little bit concerning, but then I saw that there was actually a boat right here. And since the exfil was at the harbor, this was actually the perfect way and the quickest way to get to the exfil on time. And where the ray gun really shines is when you take out enemies from afar, especially groups. Because a lot of times one shot can take out several enemies, because it has like this explosive effect, which is super helpful. And of course, it is extremely effective against manglers. But forget about your plates when you try to do this in the chopper, because it gets really crowded and you have absolutely no protection. There is nothing you can do. You just have to hope that they don't knock you out, because that's very easy when you have 0 plates. But I also know that it doesn't matter if you go down in the exfil chopper and, for example, don't have a self-revive anymore, because you still can successfully exfil when you are down. It doesn't matter at all. So in case you didn't know it, now you know it. I have actually learned that from DMC, and fortunately they did not change that, which is awesome. So I hope you enjoyed this video, which is a little different than what I usually do, where I show a full walkthrough of a run. I wanted to kind of just put out the highlights here, because the rest was kind of the same that I've already done before. If you did enjoy this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't yet. And I hope to see you next time. Until then, happy gaming. Take care. Bye-bye.